Isaiah Rodgers, corner secondary player for the Indianapolis Colts, is being investigated by the NFL for gambling. He made a tweet Monday about his actions, says he takes full responsibility. I know I have made mistakes and I am willing to do whatever it takes to repair the situation. Last thing I ever want to do is be a distraction to the coach organization, my coaches, teammates. I've let people down that I care about. I made an error in judgment and I'm going to work hard to make sure those mistakes are rectified through this process. It's an honor to play in the NFL and I will never take it lightly. I'm very sorry for all of it. Now,
So he made a bet.
I'm going to be honest.
He made over more than one bet.
But I'm going to be honest. Like the Calvin Ridley situation. If I'm, Calvin Ridley, I think he was on his bye week when it happened or what have you. My question is, who's investigating this to know when this is happening? Like, is somebody like investigating when he made the bet to see if they had a game that how are they finding this out?
I'm sure the NFL has these sport books like follow checking these names because you have to register your real name. So I'm sure they get flags when these happen, and I'm sure there's like 20 people in the world named Calvin Ridley, but every time one of them bets, like they're like, who is this name? But until they get the real one. But yeah, they must be flagging them somehow with the sports book.
I'm gonna just speak on this. I mean, honestly, just based off what he was, the quote that I should say that Nico read off. I mean, I won't say I can say I feel sorry for him because I mean I can understand if you made maybe one or two bets, but to approximately make almost 100 bets and you're thinking about I'll make sure I won't do it again. No, you're just mad because you got caught. So, I mean, I'm just being honest, like. You could literally, how could you say I'm sorry for doing this, but you placed a bet knowing that you can't place, you can't look like you just said. Look at Calvin Ridley. Why would you even consider thinking about placing bets in the middle of a game? Or not saying the middle of a game, but just period. Yeah. Knowing that you can't do that. They said any current player cannot. I'm sorry. Yeah, any current player can't place any bets on any of these games. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have that posted up in all the locker rooms or whatever in the organization. So you see it on a daily basis. So
real quick, to Walt's point, they say a sportsbook account was opened under the name of an associate of Rodgers. Sources say approximately 100 bets were placed on the account over an undisclosed amount of time, including on Colts games. The sources say most of the bets were $25 to $50 ranges.
Man, who's to say how many did he win or how many did he lose or whatever? And then who's to say with him betting on those Colts games, he got the insider say, who's hurt? He could say, you could put this money on this person because they're hurt or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
And I think the other bad thing is he is in the last year.
Yeah, only making 3 points.
Contract. Yeah, so that's the thing to think about. Like, hey, you got to be smart about that.
So, and that's another thing. You on your last contract, and it's like, why are you even spending this money anyway? I mean, I'm not saying what your finances look like, but I mean, to only be making 4 years, $3.4 million. I mean, I'm sure that's really not that much.
And the thing is, he's a starter. He started 9 games for the Colts last season, and he was probably going to be pushed into that starting role with Stephon Gilmore being traded.
Yeah.
So, this is a very important piece of that defense, especially on that back end, against that in that division. So, I don't know, man. It wasn't a smart decision.
Stop that, y'all. I get it. It's something new, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get hit with it and all that stuff, whatever. But just wait till you retire. Or is it a rule saying that they can bet they can bet on other sports other than their own sport? So I mean, just don't bet on the NFL, bet on like NBA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see what's so hard about why these dudes keep doing this silly stuff, man. It don't make no sense.
That's what I was on Nico before. Is like, do you think the NBA players just are really good at following this rule, or the NBA just isn't as hard about this rule? Because We just saw, not rookie now, but rookie wide receiver for the Lions last year was out all year with an ACL. So he was betting because he was on, and apparently he was betting at the Lions facility, like just sitting there betting on games, whatever. And now he's been suspended 6 games for this season. Guy hasn't even, he's got one catch in his career. But he's a promising guy, so they're gonna keep him. But we don't see this in the NBA. So, like, are they just that good at following the rule in the NBA? Because these are the three that really been talked about. But there have been others that have been suspended too and caught and all this stuff. So, are NFL players just bad at it, or is it they just tougher on the players for it? Like that.
No,
That's what I would think.
you have a point there, and it could be both. Could be a little bit of both. Or NBA players, you just have somebody you can throw that money to. That homie that ain't really he just around. Huh?
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people around you who can be like, hey, what I'm saying? Go throw this bet on, don't, I'm not, condoning this, but I'm just saying there's ways around, if you want to beat the system. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I just don't beat the system, but I'm just saying there's ways around it.
Well, I'm not opposed to gambling. If you're not gambling on yourself and your own team, I'm not opposed to it. I don't care what you say.
And they said that like it's okay for like golfers to bet on themselves because you can't throw a golfer because they pretty much their own team for real. So I mean, I think they said golfers are the only people that can bet on themselves or whatever.
Well, you could throw a game, I guess, but
I mean, you can, but why, if you putting 100,000 on yourself to win, why would you throw that 100,000?
You would win more by winning, but yeah. So it's not even about beating the system. It's so much like I don't understand. Like Pete Rose. Pete Rose is still not allowed in the Hall of Fame because he bet on games, but he always was betting on himself to win, right? And then he would go out there and win. Like I don't see how that's even bad. Like it's like if he was picking himself to lose and losing, that would be like this seems fishy. But if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna win," and then you go win, that seems like a legit bet. So I don't know. I know that a lot of these players are friends now today, so you could bet on your friend's team, and he could throw a game for you, and you could throw some games for him, and stuff like that. I do get that there are ways around it, so I understand. But for the most part, like I really don't see a problem with. Like I don't think that is going on that big of a deal. Like so, other than throwing games yourself, I don't see the problem with betting that much. So this statement he's saying is literally like one long way of saying, "Oops, I got caught." Like Walt said, like it's just like, it's a fancy way of saying "Oops." That's all this was.
No, I agree, but